Welcome to the Galen Trombley Show. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share the episode. You can follow me on social media at Galen Trombley. I hope you enjoy the show.
Greetings. Please hold for a very important message. Light speed sequence initiated. How may I help you?
Bonjour.
Security breach.
The truth shall set you free. Awesome. It's a miracle.
Stabilize. 3, 2, 1. Mission complete.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Hopefully that made it.
Yeah,
Our early sound effect. So, hello everybody. Episode 226 of the Galen Trombley Show. Guest is Brannoin Sample he's the owner at Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall. You've probably seen him. I think people have called him the party guy or the fun guy, or he just you see him around. He's always having a good time, always upbeat and a lot of energy. And you obviously have run or now you've been involved. I mean, probably 3 decades now.
Since I was 11 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so at the family wedding banquet hall, that's probably everybody in the North Country's gone to at least once in their life. So
It's the wedding capital of the great Northeast, as my dad would say.
so if give us some background. Who are you? How'd you get here?
Yes, Brannoin Sample. I drove here in a 15-passenger van, which we also use to drive drunk people home at the end of the night. The more you drink, the further we drive. If you're listening to this, you probably heard all my one-liners before, but buckle up. Here they come. Yes, my parents started Peck and Jane. They started the Rainbow Banquet Hall. It started out as Rainbow Tavern in the early 90s. And my dad has always been an entrepreneur, always looking 5 years ahead, and always owned some sort of business. And I suppose Rainbow Tavern is what it started at in Altona, or beautiful downtown Altona, as I like to say. There's another zinger for you. And so in 95, they kind of got sick of the tavern aspect of the business and doubled the size of the Blue Room, which is the original room, and started doing private events, private parties. 2005, business was good. They were turning away business, so that kind of called for an expansion. Built the White Room in 2005. We had Hillary Clinton there in 2005 when she was state senator. That really helped put us on the map. We make it a point not to be too political. Her money was green. We took it. Mm-hmm. And then still turning away business. So my parents built the Gold Room in 2007. And it's been working out great. But a few years ago, the barn theme really, really hit. And I kept hearing from couples, we love you guys, but we're looking for a barn. Food's great, looking for a barn. Whatever, looking for a barn. So one day I finally said, "Fuck it, build my own damn." Can I swear?
You can.
Fucking right.
You can do it. I don't actually bleep it out. So
okay,
this is raw. This is good.
I thought about that on the way here. I'm like, can I? And I forgot to ask. But anyway,
I want you to be as real Brannoin as you can be. So yeah,
fair enough. So we decided to build our own barn, and I'd never have to listen to that ever again. And I tell people anything pretty in there, my wife picked out, except for the urinals. That was me. No big deal. But yes, who's Brannoin Sample? So love the business. I get paid to go to a party every weekend. Family man. Love my wife, my 2 kids. I'll give credit to their dad. Technically, I'm their stepdad, but I love these kids like they're my own. They're pretty phenomenal. I love my turnkey family. I like skiing. Still play co-ed soccer. I like to stay active, and like I said, I get paid to go to a party every weekend.
What? So we'll unpack this a little bit.
That's a lot.
The actual thing that drew me is you're still playing soccer, indoor.
Yep, our team name is We Were Good 15 years ago.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
How's the knees holding up on that?
Not too bad. Like I said, I still ski and stuff. I just got back from a trip last week, actually, visiting my sister in Idaho. And no, we're actually the old team in the league. I think everybody on our team.
Do you have Matty Ormsby on it?
You know what's funny about that?
Because Matt was good 20 years ago. So
him and I played together at Clinton. That's how I got to know Matt. Okay. We were on the same team. And I ran into him at the Crate Center, which sadly is no more. Mm-hmm. It was right after COVID too, and I was like, Matty, we should put the old Clinton team back together, and the Clinton Cougars, and he's like, yeah, great idea. And then we played that first session together, and then I think he hurt his knee or something like that. And then the guy just disappeared. Now I only see him when I play against him.
Yeah, no, Matt's great. Matt's like the Cal Ripken, I think. Or he's gonna be like the Tom Brady of the league. Like he's gonna still play.
Oh, for real. He reads the ball so well to play, and
Yeah.
I hate playing against him, but I
Yeah,
love
he's
him
a
at
good
the same time.
great guy. So you get in the family business now. You said you started at 11. What was like your first memory of the banquet hall, or because was it the tavern at the time or the banquet hall when you started?
I suppose technically it would be the we started into banquets and such. So, yeah, the addition was made. I do remember as a kid like the tavern aspect of it, just going in on Sundays to help, find quarters on the floor and sweep and play pool and foosball and stuff like that. It was funny, actually. All the older drunk people would always get mad at this little, 8-year-old who would beat them in pool and stuff like that. It was quite a fun
The only
childhood.
one that's seeing straight, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had my little bar stool in the corner, my Ruby Red grapefruit juice, and it was
Hustling.
It was a fun childhood for sure. I remember Dave Jeanette too. I don't know if you know him,
Yep.
but he was always my foosball partner as well too, and he'd play back, I play front. But anyway, yes. So what was the question? I don't even know.
So what was your first memory of it?
Memory, yeah, I guess just being around the crowd, serving. Actually, one of the first parties I remember working is actually the Shazy. I guess that wasn't one of the first ones. Yeah, because you guys have been coming doing business with us for quite a few years.
It was probably 2000. Well, 2004 was the year, so 5 maybe.
Yeah, so I guess at that point I was 16 years old. So I was 4 years into my quote unquote career, 4 or 5 years into it. But yeah, just serving people, doing what we do today, bussing tables, serving salads, doing dishes, getting paid $5 an hour, and thought I was rolling in the money back then, and it was good.
I was gonna say when I got my first job around then, I think it was $5.15 was minimum wage. Mm-hmm. It was like, and you got it. You're like, this is great,
Oh,
but
yeah.
Now you're like, how the heck is It's funny. But so when you started off, did you like as you got older? So you did it. And everybody has like jobs you do in high school and stuff. Like, did you go to college? You went to Clinton, you said, right?
Yeah.
But did you go do anything after that, or was it always? Did you have plans to go do something, or were you like, you know what, I'm just gonna get something, but I'm gonna always want to come back and do the party stuff?
Yeah, see, I wasn't super proactive, and I feel like my parents kind of set me up like that too, to an extent, because I think in the back of their minds, they really wanted me to take over the family business afterwards. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't until the last week of high school, actually, that I remember I was eating my stuffed chicken breast in the senior lounge with my maple syrup, and I was like, high school's almost done. Like, I should probably go sign up for college, right? That's what you do. And it's funny because my kids now, Owen is going to, he's applying for colleges, and he's a senior this year. Wow. And to see like what we're doing to kind of help him, push him along for the college experience. And looking back to my childhood, like my parents didn't do any of that, but they're always working, and I will say like they're always there to my sporting games. Like I don't know how busy they were. I feel like they're at every single soccer, basketball, tennis match or whatever. So that is kind of instilled in my childhood memory, I guess. But yeah, so I did 2 years at Clinton Community, and I remember I signed up for my major, something with business, and and I feel like high school just did not prepare me for the next step. Nobody was really pushing me along, and nor was I proactive myself. And but I guess I was fortunate. I always knew that I had the family business to fall back on, and I think secretly my parents were kind of grooming me to take that over. So they didn't want to give me too many options after high school, I think was their plan.
So when you went to college and business, was that because of the influence of your parents?
Yeah, it made sense. Out? Yeah, and they didn't push me one way or the other. Really, I could have done anything I wanted, I think, and they wouldn't have given me any grief about it. They would have been very supportive. They always have been. But yeah, something with business. I kind of grew up in it, so I was enlightened to an extent with what we were doing. So it made sense to continue that way.
So throughout college, were you still working there?
I was, yep.
So when you get out of college, like at what point did you do anything from leaving college in, or as soon as you got out of college, you just kind of went into the business and then things just kind of evolved to where they're at now? Yeah,
as soon as I turned 18, I started bartending immediately, and boy, I was good at it. It was fun. It was like the beautiful dance back there behind the bar, and now I'm terrible. But I just, it's one of those things, if you don't use it, you lose it, I feel like. And so, yes, bartending really kept me involved, and then, seeing the tips and stuff like that, it was financially motivating, I suppose. And of course it just, and then actually my parents set me up strategically, might add, to take over like the decoration aspect of the business, and certain things just kind of fell into place to make that work. So
like interior design portion of it.
Yeah, just like room decorations, centerpieces, chair covers, all like the little extras, I guess, the add-ons. And then I had space within the building to kind of keep inventory. And so having that aspect of the business early on while I was still young, fresh out of school, that again helped keeping me motivated, I guess, to see like a financial return immediately without really having to invest much into it.
How did you ever try to learn the business, or to try to, get better at everything and make it, stand out or evolve? I mean, how did you do that? Was that just kind of trial and error and you just kind of figured it out as you went? Or did you seek out other, wedding halls, or did you, where did you get, because it's evolved quite a bit from when I remember it, those first few years to where it's at now, obviously with like 4 different spaces and
4
everything
venues.
else. Yeah, venues. So, I guess how has that evolution happened, and like how have you grown from like a knowledge base as like what works, what doesn't work? Is it?
Yeah, I mean, again, my dad was always very good at always looking 5 years ahead and kind of seeing trends and looking at the economy and everything else. And mom was always just a super hard worker who was great with the people. She loved people. The people loved her. And just very good at keeping the business like very family, like the aesthetic of a family, I guess. Mm-hmm. When you work there, you become family, whether you like it or not. If you get married with us, you become family, whether you like it or not. And then, but yeah, so there are clearly two of my big influences growing up, obviously for obvious reasons. But then, I don't know, just other things kept popping up too, like the DJ service. I DJed from 2010 till 2017. Jeff Matthews from Ellenberg, he had dance rhythms, and he was looking to get out of that. His son was growing up. He was staying busy with the store, La Bears in Ellenberg. And so he was looking for somebody to take over the DJ business as well too. And I mean, it made sense to me to keep that going. So I was either bartending on the weekends, or if DJ came first, then bartending, and then having that extra decorations aspect. But you know what, actually, you talk about how I follow trends and how that came to life. What was a great asset later on, I don't know when it actually came to be, but Pinterest. Pinterest has made my life so much easier, especially back then, because when we first started the decoration aspect of the business, I can almost see the conversation when the bride says, what can you offer me? And I was like, I don't know. It was like my first meeting. What do you like? I didn't know what questions to ask. I really just learned as I went. And but nowadays, the bride she'll look at Pinterest before she ever comes in, and she already has an idea, and then she can show me a picture, and I'm smart enough to figure out how to put it together. And now I got a great team around me too, who I've kind of handed off a lot of that responsibility to some of the key people here at the Banquet Hall still. But Pinterest, has made life easy.
So when you mentioned like a team and where, because you said before we started, I was like, what's your title? Like, what do you do? And you're like, I don't really like titles. And I think this is, very true, knowing members of your family, like you just kind of, if something needs to be done, someone does it, mm-hmm. But how do you break up? I'm guessing you're, from a vision standpoint and everything, you could still consider yourself, kind of near the very top of, of decision making and things like that. But how do you, who's your support staff, and like, how do you go about your day to day of, whether it's delegation, whether it's like, what do you focus on?
Yep. So when my parents got out of it, or stepped back at least, or mom passing away, obviously, yes, that was a fear of mine of how do I do all these things myself? And the honest answer is, you just can't. You really got to find people that you trust, and that care. We don't need somebody to know everything, but I just need somebody to care about the business, care about the customer. People are paying good money to come do a wedding with us, and we want to show them the best time, and not just put a face on. Like, we sincerely love the business and what we do. Brooke, I suppose, she's basically our general manager now. She does a lot of the meetings for me too. I'll do the initial meeting when somebody new comes in, but she's great at following or filling out the worksheet, doing the different details and working with the centerpieces and just doing all those preliminary discussions, I guess.
Consultations and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the brides love her as well too. They feel comfortable. Brooke's in their room for the most part from start to finish too. So it's nice to get familiar with all of us. Lindsay also, she's our head bartender and like all things decorations and setup and both these girls too. They'll stay late. They'll come early. They'll whatever it takes to get things done. Like they won't just say, it's 5 o'clock. I gotta go. And I'm really, really appreciative to have people that like that who will stick around and make sure the job is done complete. Ashley, she runs our kitchen in the back too. She's got so many things going on in her life, and yet she still makes work a priority, and she takes such good care of that kitchen for me, and just so thankful to have all of them too. And then, after them too, there's another support staff after that as well too. So, and they almost know not to assign me any task like on the weekends or anything like that during parties because I'm like a squirrel, Galen. Like I see something shiny and I go chase it. I go talk to somebody or just I get caught in a conversation for too long.
But I look at it's funny because your business it's a business and you're putting on an event, but you still have the idea of networking and like whether you call it like schmoozing or whatever. Like you're kind of when I think of Rainbow, I think of you. Like and obviously I thought of your parents too. When I was younger and. It was always like Peck's Place. Like I didn't even think it was Rainbow. I don't think I knew it was Rainbow until
people still call it Peck's, and they're like, "I'm sorry, we didn't mean to offend you." I love when people call it Peck's.
Yeah, I grew up.
It brings it home.
I grew up. Was it ever called Peck's? Or was that just
no? I don't think so.
Like local slang and
yeah, everybody just knows him as Peck. Peck's not even his real name either.
I figured. What's his real name?
Oh man, should we leave the mystery out there? Nah.
No, you can. I honestly don't know your dad's real name.
It's Leonard.
Leonard. Okay.
Yeah.
So everybody just like I just knew it was like, oh, we're having the banquet at PEX or it's at PEX. Like for soccer, we're going to PEX. So
but that's going back to like the family business. Like that is part of the reason why I enjoy going around just talking to people.
Yeah.
And it's a family business. We want you to feel like family. It's not just one of those places. Dad always said it like this, he's very blunt, we're not one of those places of, give me your money, get out of my face. Nothing like that.
Yeah.
We're thankful for the business. We appreciate it. And it's just fun.
Yeah. And I think, I think it's important, like for someone like you or whoever to really just be out there. And even if you're not doing anything, quote unquote, like a task list, like just going out and meeting people is a massive part of a business of anything. So now you have the support staff, you have that, like you said, the girls that you just spoke about. How many people in total on any given night or weekend are there? Or even, because most of your events are weekends, right?
Primarily, yeah.
So if you had like today's a Tuesday, are there people there doing stuff, prepping?
Yes.
Or so like every day, how many people typically are there? And then like on weekends, what's the numbers change to?
During the week, there's usually a beginning, like everybody takes Sunday, well, except for the cleaning staff, I guess. We come in on Sunday at 7 o'clock to just get the room turned around and it doesn't smell like stale beer or something on the floor or whatever. So we get the room cleans on Sunday. Monday, everybody takes off. I go in, I'll do payroll and the grocery order. Tuesday, the grocery truck comes. Ashley's there right now to accept the truck and check everything off and put things away. And Brooke and Lindsay are there right now setting up as well too, just getting ahead with folding napkins and silverware and staffing. Oh, I hate staffing. I hate doing the calling people and the scheduling. I hate that. Brooke does that. Love it.
Yeah.
And then Wednesday the other kitchen staff will come in and start doing some food prep and just getting organized. And same thing with Thursday. And usually parties actually generally in the summertime start on Friday. We do a lot of rehearsal dinners. And then Saturdays obviously is the big day. I think we have 74 weddings scheduled for this year. Oh
my God.
Plus, not to mention like then rehearsal dinners or Mother's Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's different Eve, company parties. We have Sean back coming this weekend for the first time ever. I'm very excited about that one.
As like a corporate company. Oh, cool.
Yep. They got the CEO flying in from Germany too.
Oh, no shit. That's cool.
Yeah.
So, and like on a Saturday, are all 4 venues booked typically?
I mean, it definitely happens.
Mm-hmm.
Probably only like 5 times a year or so.
So on a night like that, how many, like, are you going from venue to venue throughout the night?
Yeah, so I keep Brooke in the barn, the Brookside barn. So 3 of the venues are connected, right?
Yep.
The blue room, white room, gold room, and then across the parking lot is the barn. So I'll generally stay in the main buildings, and I call them the main building, I guess. And then Brooke I'll keep her over at the barn. And so we try to stagger the dinner times by an hour at least. And by doing so, we can still be very efficient on the service. You know, my priority when I'm bouncing around room to room is, 1, making sure the ceremony starts on time, and then 2, the dinner starts on time. And so we'll leave 1 to 2 people in charge of each room that'll stay stationary. And then we'll have another support cast, I guess, if we want to call them, that kind of bounce room to room to, you know, work the buffet, to get the food served, to get the plates picked up in a appropriate time. And then we'll leave the 1 or 2 people who are in charge of the room to serve cake or do some of the cleanup at the end, like picking up salt and peppers or whatever the case may be.
So there's overlap within the staff between all the buildings?
Yep, exactly. Okay. So by having that 1 hour stagger time of the dinner times, that keeps us very efficient.
I was going to say, because once the party kind of gets going, is like, as long as you have bartenders and a couple people just running around, that's probably all you need, right, to maintain?
For the most part, yeah. You know, then maybe you'll get like a spill you got to go pick up. But again, that's why you got at least the 1 person in charge of the room to pay attention to those types of things.
So I guess, so the week is, you guys are always busy. Like, it's just like there's always stuff to do. And do you ever feel overwhelmed of like, we're just not going to be ready for the party? Or have you guys simplified the process enough where it's not like the variables are under your control for the most part?
God, I just got such a great staff. They get it done. Like we even when we're stressed at the max and we're tired, we're running on fumes. Like especially when we have weddings, like back to back sometimes, Friday, Saturday, Sunday in the same room. We stay late, we clean, we reset. I'll shout out to everybody, "What's our motto?" And they all yell back, "We don't get tired." It's so funny. Yeah, whenever we do get nervous, like, are we gonna get this done? Like, we just have the attitude. It always works out, and we, people will step up to the plate. They'll make it happen. We'll all do what it takes to get it done. And that goes back to caring. Just because maybe your hour is up, you're not necessarily gonna go home. You're gonna make sure everybody pitches in. Teamwork makes the dream work. So everybody pitches in, so we're not leaving 1 person hanging or 2 people hanging. Everybody continues to pitch in until it's all done. So we all leave at the same time.
So very like a task-oriented group. It's like you complete the task, then we're done. Not like you said, not a clock.
When I say that, I'm referencing like the late night resets, especially. That's when the most stress is in play.
People are just tired and want to get out of there, and
it's a long day. It's a long day.
How late are you guys there on a night of a wedding? To what hour in the morning?
Yeah, it depends. If the wedding just ends, generally around like 10, 11 o'clock, most weddings end. And then, we'll lock up and go home. And then I usually come back the next morning with another team at 7 o'clock to just start cleaning. But otherwise, if there's a party the next day, well, then I don't know, we might not get out of here till like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then I always come back around 7, 8 o'clock or so, or maybe the bride's coming earlier at 6. I don't know. We don't sleep much.
I was gonna say, so how do you maintain like your energy, your health, your like all this, like you don't nap? You don't sleep much, you said, like in general, or is that?
Yeah, I'm a sample. We just keep going forward.
Okay.
I don't know.
So you just figure it out?
But I am a fan of naps.
Okay.
I've read like the ideal nap is 10 to 30 minutes or so.
Yeah. The power nap.
The power nap. Yeah. I'm a fan of the power nap. So I'll put on my earbuds sometimes, and like if I notice, especially when I'm at the computer, I hate sitting at the computer because that's when I tend to doze off. If I stay moving, I can keep moving. But if it's if I sit down, if I stop, then that's when my body wants to stop. And so I'll do a power nap. I'll set my alarm for like 20 minutes if I have that much time or whatever, and put on the white noise on Apple Music and on my earbuds, and I'll crash for 20 minutes and then I'll bounce right back. And
do you drink coffee?
Not afternoon.
Okay.
I drink it in the morning. My wife and I, we get up usually around 5:30 in the morning, and we'll have a cup of coffee together. So at least it's like a little personal time, her and I.
Yeah.
And But then, yeah, usually that morning coffee is usually my only coffee. But I'll make it a point not to drink afternoon because I just like to make sure I get a good night's rest when I do get to sleep.
So like normal, like Monday through, let's say Thursday night, you can sleep pretty well. It's just the weekends that are a little chaotic, or like is your schedule normal? Like today's a Tuesday. Like is your schedule like tonight? You can like I can go to bed at 9, 10 o'clock tonight and be fine.
Yes, that's typically what I do. And actually, Wednesday mornings, I usually go to work around like 4 o'clock in the morning. During not so much over the winter. Right now, it's slower. It's not, it's not as much business going on. But in the summertime, I make the wedding cakes myself. And so on Wednesday morning, I'll usually go in around 4 o'clock to start the wedding cakes. Yes, it's quiet. The phones aren't ringing. The kitchen staff isn't there yelling. God, the kitchen staff is so damn loud. I love them all individually, and I appreciate everything they do. But boy, when they get together, just get me out of there.
So where'd you learn how to bake cakes? Is that just something you picked up throughout the years? Like your parents teach you, or did you?
Yeah. So when I must have been in high school, I guess. Dad and Mom went down to Rochester and did a cake baking class for a weekend. Boy, did we have one hell of a party while they were gone. So like everything else, I just kind of learned from my parents, hands-on learning.
Yeah.
In school, I did okay in school, but I definitely excel with the hands-on, doing it myself and learning as I go, for sure. But going back to, back in the day when it was my parents were involved, Saturday mornings, and it's kind of, to an extent, kind of sad when I think back to it because it's just, memories, I guess, like that.
Yeah.
But, every Saturday, Mom would be working on the appetizers, the hors d'oeuvres. Dad would be trimming the beef and doing the bread, and I'd be working on decorating the wedding cakes. And so then I had to learn how to, do all those things myself. So I tried to do everything myself for a while, and then I learned to, and I do a decent amount of that prep stuff in the morning. I like to get there early to give the staff time to come in, maybe a little bit later in the day because, again, Saturday is just a long day for everybody. So I rather have the longer day myself. So now I delegate again, of course, a little bit more. But what I started doing too, because some people might be thinking, boy, Wednesday to make cakes and then eat it Saturday is like going to dry out or what's happening. So what I started doing since COVID, I call them my COVID cakes. You don't get COVID from eating them that I know of. But I started making everything out the display. Oh, boy, is this going to... Maybe I shouldn't be telling everybody the secret. Do you have a big following on this? Who's going to listen to this?
I mean, it's usually like 2 million an episode, so...
Oh, that's it?
That's it, yeah. You'll drum up some business.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I'll tell you anyway, I guess. Doing faux cakes, I guess, for a display. And during COVID, the thought was... people weren't breathing on the food product that everybody was going to consume afterwards. And actually it's just made everything more efficient. So, food costs and everything else has gone up. And of course we raised our prices over the past couple of years. But the cake, I've been able to hold that price true, by getting just more efficient at it. So by doing the faux cakes, frosting styrofoam fresh each week and still doing a wedge of cake in the back so you can do the cake cutting ceremony in front of everybody, allows me to do it a few days earlier than what, might be suitable to eat per se. And then doing the sheet cakes in the back, later in the week as well too.
Gotcha.
It's great for a couple of reasons. One, it's not sitting out there on display, drying out all day. People aren't sneezing on it. I can put more filling in it. If you're doing like caramel or something like that, you can only put so much so it doesn't run out the side of the display cake. But when it's a sheet cake in the back, I fill it right up. And it just makes it that much tastier,
So it's the same cake. It just visually doesn't, because you cut it anyway. So it comes down to, yeah. It's like nobody ever gets like the full nice looking cake. You get a little wedge of it and you.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's no downtime of like breaking down the cake, slicing it, plating it, forking it, serving it. We can have it done a little bit ahead of time, and it just makes everything so much more efficient. It's efficient. I like to be busy.
I was gonna say how much do you focus on efficiency in your business? Like, are you constantly always looking at, is there a better, quicker, like you said, more out of the box kind of way to do this?
Yes.
So that's like a big like focus of yours throughout the day or week or years?
Yeah, because we seem to be getting busier and busier, and staffing is expensive. And so if we can, and then there's just other dynamics to, the more people you have, the more personalities.
More cooks in the kitchen.
To work. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Well said. And so if we can be more efficient with the handful of people that we do have working full time, all around, I feel like it's just nicer if we can get away with that.
How many people are on payroll for you guys, ballpark? Or I guess full time and then like staff or like people that fill in.
Was there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? Yeah, there's like 7 full time people. And then we get a lot of like the high schoolers on the weekend warriors, the different high schoolers to come as their first job typically, and they're bussing tables and serving the buffet with us and working alongside of us.
And I'm guessing that's a mixture of Northeastern and NAC for the most part. Students?
Yeah, it goes through phases. Those are our two primary schools for sure. Every once in a while, Beekman or something like that.
But you'll be able to bring in, for the most part, that becomes kind of word of mouth or turnovers pretty easy with the high school kids?
Generally, yes. During COVID, it was very difficult because we cut back on staffing so much. During 2020, we did 11 weddings, all less than 50 people. Terrible year.
Wow.
And so generally what happens is most kids work with us for 2 to 3 years. So a lot of times, the seniors in high schools, they'll train the younger kids, the juniors or sophomores potentially. And it's just kind of follow the leader. During COVID, we just cut back to just our full-time staff. And so we didn't have that transition of learning year, from the older kids to the younger kids. And so that was challenging back in 2022 even. 2022 wasn't bad. 2021 was rough. 2022 was so, and now we're getting a really nice group of kids right now too that I'm trying to make it known too that if you're ever looking for a full-time job, college may not be for everybody. Like we can accommodate you too.
So within the actual banquet space, what else? From when I first started going, which my first memory was the Blue Room, which might have been the soccer tournament.
It was
one back then. And then I remember the white one being built, and went in that soon after. I think when we had my senior year, we were in the White Room, and that I think had just been built, which would have made sense. 2007, 8, right around that time.
The White Room was 2005. The Gold Room 2007.
Oh, okay. So I'm losing my. So yes, 2005 was the first year I did it, and that was in the White Room. We also did it in 07 in the White Room too. But I remember the first year we did it was it was brand new, which would have been 05. So that makes sense.
Yeah, I remember you guys were in the Blue Room though.
Blue was Blue was the first year.
Yeah,
and then it went to the White Room because I remember the White one. I remember being on stage in the White Room with the 05 team, and then also the 07 team. We did the boys and girls. That was the same year.
Yeah, I rooted for Shazy every year just because we got business from me every year.
Yeah. I was gonna say
Go team.
The whole town went.
Yeah,
for
for
sure.
real. It was. We appreciate the business.
And then I think the Gold Room. My first memory was my cousin got married there in 08, June of 08, but it was in the Gold Room, which would have made sense, right?
Yeah, I remember your Shazy soccer team too. I remember the first banquet that they did in the Gold Room was part of the reason they moved from the White Room to the Gold Room because you had so many people because both the girls and the guys won one of those years.
Oh, you're right. Yep, because when you walk in, they were all up in the front. They weren't because the White Room, I think we were off on this. When you walk in, it was on the right side.
The end of the room,
correct,
essentially.
Yes. Yeah, and you had the windows behind. And so I remember going in there the first time, and that room was because every year, the Blue Room gets bigger to the White Room gets bigger to the Gold Room. So then it was just you kept going in God.
We just renovated some of those rooms too this past year also. The Gold Room, we did a whole new makeover. The Blue Room as well too. We threw some paint up there and put new flooring down.
Is it still blue?
So in the Blue Room, the upper walls, it's carpet. Most people don't recognize that it's actually carpet.
Okay.
But we did. My parents said that you're not poking holes through the walls when you want to hang something, and then acoustics are a little bit nicer in there too.
Oh yeah.
But in there, so the lower half is that wood wainscoting.
Yep.
And so we painted that white, and then we leveled out the floor again, and put just painted the wainscoting white, I guess. The Blue Room is our quote unquote, budget friendly room or whatnot. So we try not to put too much money into that. Mm-hmm. And then the Gold Room, we put new flooring down as well. Painted the walls white, ripped the carpet off the walls.
Oh wow.
Painted the lower half of that charcoal and put some beams up going across. We're gonna stain those here this week as well. They're fresh cut. Raw lumber, I guess.
I was gonna say timber wood type.
Yeah. So rough cut. That's the word.
Yeah, rough cut. Yeah.
We waited a year to let that dry out before we stain that. So we're gonna do that this week.
Are you still calling it the Gold Room? Like the names all staying the same?
We went back and forth about that. The chandeliers are still gold.
Okay,
and actually,
yep.
I feel like they pop even more now that you got the white ceiling background.
Yeah, it would make sense. Because it used to be like a burgundy, right? Or no?
It was like a goldish color. Everything was gold. Like
Was it gold? Okay.
Yeah, it was
I'm colorblind, so that's why I'm like, it totally could have been not burgundy. I remember it being like kind of a dark, it wasn't white. It wasn't anything light.
It's like my mom and Donald Trump got together and like, it's gold. We're going to put it gold. But no, it had its run. It was very pretty for many years, but it was a little bit darker. It was due for a little lightening up to come alive again. But yeah, as far as changing the room, I went back and forth about it. I'm a very nostalgic fella, because when I think of Gold Room, I think of all the hard work that my parents put into the building, and so I hate to change certain things like that. However, I think of what my mom would do, and her attitude would be whatever's going to make you money. She'll be thankful that I'm thinking of her, about changing things or not changing things. But at the end of the day, she loved the business so much, whatever would benefit the business. And so anyway, do we change the name? Do we not? I was thinking about we're putting it out there on Facebook to like people vote on it just for marketing purposes, just to get people chatting about it. But it's selling on its own. The barn is our first selling room. People love that. My wife did a great job with
so that's the biggest selling point, or the most popular one right now.
Yeah, it is. And now, the gold room is second now, and the blue and the white room have their space as well too.
So the barn can fit the most amount of people, right?
Gold room actually.
Oh, it is. So what's the capacity on all the rooms?
So the largest wedding we did in the barn is about 350, maybe 360 or so. There's the Kuchar wedding, and then Maddie Phillips got married in there too. They had the biggest weddings. Wow. And you could put a few more people up in the balcony if you really wanted to. Obviously, it's more ideal to kind of keep everybody together, but I figure you put another 80 people up in that balcony if you really had to.
Wow.
But in the barn too, the bar, you've been in there, the bar's in there. Like, you got to keep the tables away from the bar. You got to keep the tables away from the bathrooms. Whereas in the gold room, you got that initial entranceway where the bar is in the bathrooms. But the main ballroom is just one huge rectangle. So you can really put some tables in there.
So you because a wedding with 360 people, that's a massive wedding.
It's a good crowd, yeah.
So when you go, the gold room can hold close to 500 maybe?
Yeah, New Year's Eve we typically sell out. We can do more, but it's more comfortable at 550. We stopped selling tickets at 550 for New Year's Eve.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Now, I've never been to a New Year's Eve thing there, but I know it's like the biggest party in town.
It's because of my catchy slogan: "Come as you are, come in your car, get your ass to the open bar." Is what we say. Yeah.
Is that like the biggest night of the year for you guys?
It's a very good night.
I was gonna say, or maybe beyond, like 4 weddings going on at the same time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. When you can do volume like that, it makes a difference. But
how long have you guys been doing the New Year's Eve party?
Oh my God, I can remember as a kid, before I hit puberty, pulling out the winning ticket. Oh, God. So, sorry, my wife doesn't go in public with me sometimes because I say just stupid shit sometimes. And the other interview, remind me of the question because I'm going to go sidetrack right now. The other interview I listened to you on before I came on was Corey Lewis.
Yeah,
and I texted Lewis and I was like, man, I'm a little nervous about going on the Galen Trombley show. And I'm like, you did great. And I'm like, I'm nervous because I say stupid shit sometimes. And he's like, man, if they don't want to listen to your stuff, then it's not worth your time. Or he's trying to say something motivational or whatever. But he was great. Like I said, what was the question, Galen?
Wait, let me. The question. I lost it when you started going. Let me see.
The New Year's Eve.
Oh, the New Year's. How long you did it? You said you pulled the winning ticket.
So actually, I was reminiscing with Nancy Rabideau the other day too. She just came yesterday, and back then it was in the blue room. So when it was just the single room. So you're talking 1990, I would imagine, somewhere in that zone. But back then, we used to give away so many like cash prizes and liquor. Like everybody won something. It was so cool. And I was, just the cute kid in the little tux and little the pudgy kid, I guess, pulling out the winning tickets. And everybody won something big and small. And it was a lot of fun. Now we just do like 30 door prizes where, we give away some big screen TVs, a KitchenAid, some tablets, and some wine bottles and stuff like that.
So how much booze do you guys go through on like a given night on a wedding? or a week or a year? Like, do you guys like where do you get all the booze? But because it's obviously like that's a main thing at weddings and bartending and stuff. But
Yeah,
you have 300 something people there. Like people put down some drinks. So like, is it because you had the little store next door at one point, right?
my parents did, yeah, way back in the day, and then Mountain Mart bought that. They own that for the past, I don't know, quite a few years, and it's closed now. I'm actually trying to buy it right now. The guy's dragging his feet to. I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I'd like to buy it and put our ice cream stand in there too, and then we get a lot more traffic. That Vermont traffic going to go buy their cigarettes from the reservation down the road. Yes, I'd like to move that over there because we have that Barnoin Creamery and Grill.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Yeah.
So I like the transition over there, but I don't know. I'm not sure what's happening with that yet.
Like, do you guys just stock all your own
as far
drinks?
as the booze, yeah. So we buy from the two big distributors, Southern Glacier and Wine and High Peaks and the Saratoga Eagle. They bought out Plattsburgh Distributing when Jack was retiring, and what's the other one? High Peaks, Glacier. There's another liquor distributor anyway. And so yeah, we keep a decent amount of inventory, because the stock 4 bars. And, over the winter we'll definitely cut down on our inventory and just kind of move things bar to bar, so we're not sitting on it or expiring or anything. But yes, generally, we're in a small town. We get a lot of repeat business, same families. A lot of them we know if they're going to be drinkers or not. And I always like when people, we ask them ahead of time, like if there's something we should stock up on or something we might not carry that, they request that day, and we'll make sure to get it in. But I love when people say, we're gonna, it's a competition sometimes. Like, we're gonna drink you out of Mick Ultra. I'm like, I hope you do, because either way I win.
Yeah. Have you ever had to do like runs during the party to go get more booze somewhere?
Usually it's just from bar to bar.
Okay.
Yes, if that's the case. Yeah.
How hard is it for you guys, like the organization of the inventory and stocking and making sure you have, obviously the food and the drinks, but then also if you just need like chairs and tablecloths and all that, like how do you keep track of all? Do you have a good system for that, or is that just something that you're like, we just kind of eyeball it and go from there?
I suppose I hate to admit it, to some extent we both, I guess. We eyeball some things, and other things we do a better job at keeping track of things. As far as like linens and stuff, we have just like a large inventory, and we do that on purpose. Just some they're soiled. They don't come out clean in the laundry. We'll toss them and keep everything fresh that way too. Like we have a backup for everything. Dad taught me that too. Have a backup for everything that you do. So even inventory for like alcohol too. Like Lindsay has taken over the ordering for the beer and liquor. So because she's our head bartender too, she does a great job of just having her eyes are on it more than mine are. That's another thing that I used to do. But again, as the business has evolved, I just can't be everywhere at once. So thankful to have the great team to fill in the gaps.
So what I guess like, so your role, if you had to break down like what you do now, like where you are currently, like what's your major priorities, or what's your major like weekly, monthly, yearly kind of, where's your focus is at?
Because my parents always had, I feel like, me to fall back on if something was to happen to them. And so my fear is what happens if I get hit by a bus tomorrow. So, I have a notebook where I've written down like a lot of like accounts and passwords and stuff like that. And between my wife, Brooke, and Lindsay, like they know a lot of the information. So my goal is to really have a handful of people that really know how to operate that business. If something was to happen to one of us, we could all, pitch in and fill in the gaps is my priority, and in fear, I guess, at the same time. So, my role now is, just overseeing for the most part. There's a few things that I just do myself that nobody else does. But at the same time, like I make sure, like Brooke especially knows, at least has an idea of how I do some things or why I do some things. And, but like I said earlier too, like when it comes to like the party day, they know not to assign me a task because I get distracted, and also just so I can kind of pitch in if something's going wrong or plumbing or whatever. I feel like the bigger the building gets, like anything else, just the more things there is to fix. And so I'm able to just kind of pitch in where needed as a helping hand to keep everything running forward.
Where's your and we'll kind of dive into some of these. Actually, I'll come back to this. I think this will be a good one to go through. But so you've got obviously the barn, but now you have the Owl Barn Creamery, which is right there too, which is an ice cream stand. I've been there before. It's great. Where did that come from? Is that just something you've always wanted to do, or is it like, we have the space, we have kind of the equipment, we can just kind of throw this thing together?
Again, my dad is always great at looking 5 years ahead of time, and he'd always had a dream about having an ice cream stand. There's decent margins in ice cream, of course, but then there's other external factors that are expensive, So when we built the barn, we had it in the back of our mind that we would delegate a certain section of the building to the creamery stand, and it worked out perfectly because our first full season of the barn was 2019, and then COVID hit right after. So actually 2020, that ice cream stand was really our only source of income that was happening. And so that's how that kind of came to be. We ran it for the past couple of years, but it's just in a poor location, I guess. When it comes right down to it, it's on the back road. The locals know about it, but the locals can only support us, so much. They can only eat so much ice cream and burgers and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's why I'd like to move that to the main road right there on Woods Falls Road and get some more traffic count that's driving by to stop in.
And so you guys, and then you guys also just do like buffets and stuff too in the barn area, or no?
In the barn?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Well, I mean, you do like food and stuff too, or no?
Are you talking about the barn now, the creamery stand still? Or?
Well, you have that, but don't you guys do like meals and stuff at the like?
Oh, over the winter we did.
Yeah.
In the month of March we did that too. Again, Dad always had I feel like I'm fulfilling all of Dad's dreams as best I can, and rightfully so. The man's worked his ass off for so many years. I like to try to keep going good with his thoughts because he has a lot of good ones. But he always wanted to do Chinese food, and the Chinese food actually went very well too. So we did a Chinese food buffet this past March, every Friday, Saturday, and a breakfast buffet on Sunday.
So is that something you plan to continue, or is that just like we tried it, like it was fun, but
we tried it, it was fun.
Okay.
And honestly, we really don't make any money on the deal. The goal is just to kind of keep the staff working during the winter months when it's slower, not much for weddings or anything going on. Yes, I think it was fun for a while, but I think I'm gonna look for different sources of revenue during the winter too.
Did you roll egg rolls? Were you like making your own food?
Oh, I was running a sweatshop in there.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Did you learn how to make some food you didn't know how to make before?
Yeah,
or others maybe?
Others did.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I didn't know if you're like making dumplings and stuff in the back.
We really were. No, yeah. So Ashley, again, Ashley Gay, who runs the kitchen for me, she does a phenomenal job. Like, she is a very prideful woman, and she used to work at the Vilas home as well too, here in Plattsburgh. And so she knows, about allergies, and she cares, and again, like I said earlier, it just comes down to caring. And she's very prideful of the food that she puts out. And so, yes, she was showing the kids, and we're rolling our own dumplings, rolling our own wontons, made the majority of all the food really from scratch.
Wow. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's cool. I mean, just because it's not like a natural thing. It's like you guys have, your bread and butter, meals that you just know and have perfected, and then you have like, let's try a whole different genre of food or different, whatever it is, type of food, and just make it work. Yeah,
because like our typical buffets, they're easy. Like when we cook on the weekends, like people are like, "Oh my God, you cook for 300 people?" And yes, is it challenging? Absolutely. However, we got that down to a science. Like, we've been doing it for so long. We have a nice little spreadsheet in the kitchen where, if we're eating prime rib dinner at 6:00, we got a little schedule that says, throw the prime rib in at, 2:30, turn the potatoes on at 4:30. So it's all timed out if you can read and write, because I could use one more cook, I guess. Can I use this as a advertising ploy right now?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I could use it doesn't necessarily need to be a full cook. I feel like line cooking, like, that is a tough job. We've done it with the Barnoin Creamery, with the stand and stuff. With the buffet cooking, if you can read and write, have a little common sense and self-motivation, you can do the buffets with us. And so I'm looking for one more person to help out with that as well too.
So when you guys look at like different options, like you said, trying to like different sources of revenues, and you spoke about your dad, are you guys constantly just thinking and like, what could we do? What could we evolve? Like, is that like, are you guys like good with like what you're doing, or you're always trying to do more, or always trying to evolve into something better?
Yeah, we're good. Everything's stable, of course. We're not going anywhere. But yeah, I always like the challenge. Like I'm a daydreamer sometimes, in the free time. Like I think about, just, like throwing a concert or something like that. And I don't want to get into all that right now, but yeah, different ideas. But really, like this past year, especially, like different businesses have been doing meetings with us too. Like we do a couple, probably like 4 meetings a year with Agrimark. Okay. We do, for the first time, we just had Upstone Material. They did some training seminars on a Tuesday and a Thursday, middle of the week. Schombeck, is another company coming this Friday. We do almost all the area fire department banquets. Yeah. Those are all coming up. We do a lot of this, invite a lot of the SUNY Plattsburgh students. They do a lot of their sorority fraternity banquets as well, too.
You do a lot of proms and stuff?
Proms especially. And my mom always loved the proms too, for the sheer reason that growing up, whatever. Growing up, my mom's family was like super poor. And she always loved the idea that, in this area isn't necessarily full of money where we live. And she always loved the idea, the fact that these kids would go into a place with chandeliers, get all dressed up, and would just have like a really nice evening. Yeah. And later in their life, they may not get that again. And, her and my dad were married in a courthouse, nothing big at all. They had the sheriff as like the witness or whatnot, or the deputy or whoever it was a witness. Like, and so she really embodied like the wedding aspect and sincerely loved to see people smile and like have these celebrations. And it meant, more than the money or anything like that, she sincerely loved the people that came through the doors.
Because you guys do majority of the proms.
Yeah.
In the area? I mean, I went to Shazy, so we did ours at our school.
We do Shazy now.
That's right. I thought so. Yeah. Which is definitely a change, because it was always at Shazy.
It's a big deal. It is, yeah.
Yeah, but like I said, I think most of the people that I know have proms up there, which again, we both went to, our proms, and you kind of just hit the nail on the head. It's like you don't really get to dress up and hang out with your friends, and it's like it's a big party, and you look for, I think it's, when you're a kid thinking about prom, it's like a big deal. Now you look back at prom and we're like, yeah, it was like, it is what it is, but like when you're a kid, like you look forward to it, and like especially when you're going, it's a big event. It's like,
you got to get a date, and
you get your date, you get your tux, you match like, what's the girl wearing? Do I gotta
get your buddies together?
The little the
corsage and
corsage. There you go. Yep. Yeah. So I mean, it's just it is cool, but I just remember everybody went there, and as I've gotten older, obviously we're almost to that season right now. Mm-hmm. All the prom photos come out, and it just looks like kids are having a good time, which is fun, like a good safe place, and they all kind of have this big party. So now what do you guys, actually 2 questions. Where did the name Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall come from?
I don't know. That's I think we've had this conversation. I think my parents used to joke, it's like they've had so many ups and downs. Like there's been different businesses and taverns, and my dad owned his own trucking company in Iowa for a short period of time. I don't know a lot of information on that, so I don't want to get into it. But always been an entrepreneur, and yes, they've, again, lots of ups and lots of downs. Mm-hmm. And so I think the rainbow is like, it's supposed to be like they're part of the gold at the end of the journey. Was supposed to be the final big venture, I suppose, and in essence, it kind of was.
Because now people call it like the rainbow, like you hear obviously PAX, but it's like PAX or the rainbow. You don't really hear like.
Yep, Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall is the technical name.
It was a technical, but I think most people would just say like where it is. It's either at PAX or at the Rainbow. Like those are what you hear. The common folk that the locals saying.
Or Rainbow Room. The out of towners call it Rainbow Room.
The Rainbow Room. Yeah. You expect to go in and just see all these colors.
Yeah. Which room is the Rainbow Room? I'm like, well, all of them. And then I gotta like all of them is kind of like the rainbow. Then you got the blue, the white, But
where's the red room? It's just down the road.
Yeah, exactly.
So what do you think about? Because although it's in beautiful downtown Altona, it really is like a destination place, like when you go to it. And that I find that Altona is a smaller town. There's not a whole lot happening that people would really gravitate to go out there. But the Rainbow is one of the reasons people go out there, and it ends up, like you said, it's just kind of this, party haven out in, out in the rural community. Was that ever a concern for your parents? And then how have you guys dealt with the idea that you aren't like West Side, or you're not like right outside the town where people are like, oh, it's easy to get in and out. It's like we got to go to, even though it's not that far, but it's still the idea that we're heading out of town, we're going there and coming back. Have you ever had to deal with that being an issue, or do you find that most people like that as kind of like a little bit of a road trip, but kind of a destination space to go and just they know they're going to a party?
Yeah, it goes both ways. Some people are like, boy, if you had a place like this in Plattsburgh, you'd have a gold mine. It's like, I don't really want to be in Plattsburgh. One, I probably couldn't afford the taxes in Plattsburgh. And but no, it's kind of right in the middle of everything. I don't want to say everything, but it's in a good spot. Plattsburgh. I live in Plattsburgh. It takes me 22 minutes to get to work. You got Champlain, Ross's Point in one direction up Route 11, and then the other direction up Route 11. We pull a lot from Malone, Potsdam, Messina. They're traveling. There's not much to choose from over there too. And one thing that obviously most people are drinking when they come, but one big thing that people love is the fact that we do that free ride home at the end of the night. Yeah. We got the 4 15-passenger vans, a couple of soccer mom vans, and my little Subaru if need be. And I tell people the more you drink, the further we drive. But yes, by getting that free ride home at the end of the night, makes a huge difference because obviously we're not, you don't have that luxury of just walking across the street to the hotel or whatnot. My dad always wanted to put up a hotel, and we looked at it a few times, seriously, probably like 3 times or so. Yeah. But yeah, it just fell through for one reason or the other. But no, honestly, we don't have a problem filling the rooms to an extent. Of course, you always want more, obviously, as long as you can continue to do a good job. But what's great about having the multiple venues is the fact that we don't have to try to pay all our bills off of one wedding. We can keep our pencil much sharper on our pricing, and it's a win-win for both the couple and ourselves. By doing multiple weddings on the same day, we can keep our prices a little bit lower to benefit everybody.
And are the shuttles are pretty well utilized?
Oh yeah.
So now, are you the one doing the shuttling?
If it's the last one, okay, because I like to be on site till the end of the party. Again, making sure everything's going smooth. But a lot of times, Lindsay seems to be the last one there at the end of the night, closing up her bar and stuff like that. So if it's like one final run at the very end of the night, she'll close up for me, and then I'll make that run usually because it's the Plattsburgh or whatnot. And again, I live in Plattsburgh, so it's
so you just bring it home, fall asleep, come back, get your car in the morning.
Yeah.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So I was gonna, and this kind of jumps down to like, how do you stay organized? Because we kind of maybe touched on this, but how do you stay organized with everything that's going on? Do you have a system for it? Is it like just based on memory? Are you like a massive note taker or like a to-do list guy?
Yeah, one of two things. I love lists. I love crossing off my list. Or I'll just be like, hey, Brooke, Brooke, we gotta do this, and or somebody will like message me on like my personal messenger, and I try to be better about like writing things immediately because of course there's just a lot of moving parts. Yep. But if I'm not like in the office with the worksheet right there or anything like that, I'll just take a screenshot, I'll send it to Brooke, and that's how I stay organized. Okay.
Really. So she's got it down then.
Oh yeah, she's well aware of the system. Okay. we're living the system.
Okay, perfect. So the DJing portion of it, you don't do it anymore, but what was that like when you were doing that? Did you like doing that? Was that like too much to handle, or was it?
It was fun. It was great. At that time, we only had the 3 rooms. We didn't have the barn at the time. And so what would happen, my mom would basically run 2 of the 3 rooms, and I would do whichever room I was DJing, as far as making sure the dinner started on time, and just helping the bride and groom with obviously like the flow of things. But yeah, I loved it. The most stressful part of that was just like the system itself. Like, it's always scary. I feel like, is the music going to play? Is it going to skip? Is it, I don't know, the computer going to crash, or is the speaker going to blow, or, just the technical aspect of it. Yeah. And honestly, like, I never follow the music. I still don't, like, I listen to music obviously, but I'm stuck in like the what I listened to in high school.
Yeah,
for
I'm the
most
same.
part.
Yes.
Yeah, and so Joe LaBombard always worked with Jeff
Yeah.
Matthews.
Yep.
And so Joe was always on top of the music. So I would use him as the music guy, the actual DJ, I guess, and I was more the MC. I was, and that's how. I'm very thankful for the DJ business for as many years as I did, for the sheer reason it really worked on my public speaking. I remember the very first DJ gig, Jeff went with me. It was at the NAC Elementary School Fall Festival, something. and Jeff was like whispering in my ear, like, all right, now invite them to the dance floor. I'm like, I can't do it, Jeff. Well, not that extreme, but it was very nerve wracking. Like I was sweating talking to these little kids. And
What year was this? You said 14?
I started DJing in 2010. So 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
I always would look at you and be like, this guy could talk his way out of any room or talk to anybody. So that was not the case. You evolved into like...
No, I mean, I was never shy by any means, but it's a different aspect, of talking to a room of 200, 300 people with a microphone and everybody like kind of all eyes on you.
Yeah.
Exactly. But actually, I feel like even back in high school, I always did the speech, the award ceremonies at the end of the awards banquet at the end of the season. I always did the speaking generally, but I hated writing it. I think Mike Rao, who works with you, I think Mike would usually write it, and he always hated talking in front of people.
Which he still just told us before, yes.
Yeah. So I think he, and maybe someone else too, but I remember specifically Mike would always like write the speeches, and then I would read it in front of everybody.
That's good. But like, because I also remember, and one thing I wrote down was like dancing. So like the DJing and the dancing, obviously, like you try to get people like involved in the party, like and you have a good pulse on this. Like, at what point do you think, like people because dancing for a lot of people is uncomfortable, like going out and like, I'm going to make a fool of myself or whatever. I mean, most of it, nobody cares because like you're just dancing and everybody looks like a fool dancing. But, like, is that something you focus on at the party where like, we just got to get these people moving and then like everybody's just going to feed off the energy? Do you have a hard time with that, or do you kind of just like let the vibe go? Like if they're not really big party people, you just kind of let it mellow, or if they're people are dancing before the dinner, like you just...
That's great. I love when people dance before the dinner.
Yeah.
As long as the dinner can still start on time.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the DJ gets too excited and like, yeah, I got them dancing. I'm like, you need to wrap this shit up because we got to serve dinner, But yes, I feel like, because most of weddings revolve around the dance floor to an extent. So it is good to see like that energy. That's where a lot of the energy comes from. That's when people start drinking a little bit more, starting to let loose a little bit more, laughing a little bit more. So if I don't see anything moving on the dance floor, yeah, I'll go out there and shake my ass. I don't, it doesn't really bother me. I'm not too bashful. And if I make a fool of myself, I think people are more in favor of that. Like they think it's funny, even if I'm doing something like totally
It's probably on brand too, because you're like hosting like a wedding and party. So I think people like look at that. It's like, oh, that's like he's doing it. Like that's what we're supposed to do. Is it like?
Oh yeah, I feel like if I look like the worst, then they're like, well, I can't look as bad as that guy. And so like I'll do like even as far as going as like the sprinkler.
Is that your go-to?
No, I don't know what my go-to is. I don't know. I got a few tricks up my sleeve, I guess, and if that's what you want to call them. But yeah, I feel like if you can sometimes get like grandma up on the dance floor or something like that, or just get people feeling comfortable, I guess.
That's the win, is getting granny up there.
Oh yeah, they love it.
I was gonna say, I think the older the better. And what is your? Do you have an all-time favorite wedding song, and do you have an all-time least favorite wedding song?
All-time favorite, it's hard. For a long time, I really enjoy. Club Can't Handle Me right now.
Club Can't Handle Me.
Flow Rider.
Oh yes, okay, yeah.
Oh my, I go crazy. I'm sweating by the end of the song. It's a good one. Even Paradise by the Dashboard Lights, Meatloaf. It's a classic.
Yes. So, because I always think of like Bob Seger, like old time rock and roll, comes out every wedding.
Joe, who used to DJ with me, LaBombard,
was that his go-to?
Hated that song.
Oh, Joe,
because he's been DJing. He started DJing, I think, with Jeff when he was
young when he started.
Probably like 12 years old, 13 years old. Yes. So he just grew up with that song every weekend. So he grew to hate that song. But
it's good to know about Joe. But I always find that comes on like every wedding.
Yeah,
which is good. It's like a good generational vibe going on.
Yeah, for the DJ, at the beginning, like after dinner, when like it's appropriate to start trying to get the dance floor going,
Yeah.
essentially. It's hard sometimes. You got to put some feelers out there. You put some different genres, and generally the older folks, they tend to go home first. So, you kind of want to make sure they have a good time. So a lot of times the DJ will put some little bit of older music on at the beginning to make them have fun, feel comfortable. Then they're gone home, and then put on
Flow Rider,
and here comes Samson dancing.
Here comes all the fun dancing.
Yeah.
So is there one that you hate though, like you personally?
No.
So you're just whatever.
Yeah, it's nice. 'Cause like I said, if I keep moving, I don't get tired, and so having that music continuously going.
What about do people give you like do not playlists?
Sometimes. Oh my God, there was a wedding. I remember I was DJing in the White Room, and she gave me a list so long of music, and also do not play.
Okay.
So play this, do not play this, and it was all like good songs and stuff, but it was like, what's his name, like Josh Radin or
Radin,
Josh Radin,
yeah,
and just like some like slow, deep songs.
Yeah.
Maybe good for lovemaking, but not for the dance floor that day. And so when I see the bride and groom were outside, with, I don't think they were smokers, but they were with people smoking or whatever. They go outside. I slip on some old time rock and roll or something like that, and then the dance floor start happening, and then the groom had to come up to me and like, we told you not to play these songs. I was like, oh, sorry, I was just trying to get the party going.
How because you always hear of like weddings where people are like bridezillas and these people freak out and stuff. Do you guys deal a lot with that, or is it like it's pretty easy going?
I tell when I first meet with the brides, like I do that initial meeting, like I told you. I always tell the brides, I'm like, it's the brides that are quiet that make me nervous because I don't know what the hell you're thinking. I said, if you keep just like an open dialogue of things you like and don't like, I got thick skin. You're not going to hurt my feelings. I want to make sure you're 100% happy and not just close. You're paying us, not the other way around. So just like an open dialogue is great. And, we don't try to sell you something for just the sake of selling you something. We want to make sure it makes sense to what they're going for, their theme, their budget, everything else. But if anyone's going to battle, generally it's probably the bride and the mom. Mm-hmm. You don't see it very often at all. Don't get me wrong. But in one essence, if they're fortunate enough, their parents are probably pitching in to help pay for the wedding, but it's the bride's day. So at the end of the day, when I have to make a decision of who I listen to, the bride or the mom, it's always the bride. It's the bride's day, regardless who's paying me. And I try to I'm very neutral. You should see some of the neutral stuff I've came out of. Brannoin, what do you think? Well, I see both sides of this, and
both fantastic women, and I, want to please both of you and have a great day.
Yeah, there's two sides to every coin, and I try to be neutral, and they're like, yeah, that's a very political answer, Brannoin. Well, you asked me,
So, but because I always look like when you go to most weddings, and I think when you look at it, like you typically like the food's important, but I think it's always like dancing, the crowd for sure, like who's at the wedding, like the fun, the dancing, and like the drinks and stuff. Because majority of the wedding's like the party part of it. Like you have the formalities in the beginning, but I think when people get too involved in like the linens and the place setting and like so and so is doing this over there or this, the food's 20 minutes late, like all these like random things, like things are gonna go wrong. It's just like the nature of like it's live. You're doing like this is not like a it's like doing live theater. It's like this, there's always going to be slip ups and you just got to kind of roll with the punches. But I think the people that are just chill and laid back and like realize like you're just here to have fun, like, and you almost embellish, like make it bigger than it actually is. Like it's a big event, but it's an event that you should look for all like the good silver lining positives about the day. And like there'll be little minor things, but you will never remember those things.
Correct.
So I think that's like, I always hope like when people get married, like at any weddings I've gone to, it's always, if you see, I try to make a point, like if I see the bride or groom, like this is great, like everything's great, even if it's like sucks, it's like it's still great because like in their mind, like they want to have people be fun, and very rarely do you go to a wedding and it's not fun because you make your own fun. It's with the people you meet, the people you're with, like you kind of. Oh yeah. I think as long as you get people in a room together, people can have fun.
Absolutely.
So
and it always makes us feel good too. Like it even just happened this past Saturday. I was talking to a past bride, and many times we tell people, or we don't tell people, they tell us, like, when I get back home, people are still telling me like that was the best wedding they ever went to. And I hear that, relatively often, which obviously makes us feel good, but it's a whole support cast. It's important. Your venue obviously is very important. But having a quality DJ, super important. There's a few of them that I really like working with, especially when they come every weekend. Especially, we just work well off each other. Yeah. Having a quality photographer too. But yeah, having those big things like that too makes a world of difference for efficiencies.
Like, so like the wedding industry, I've had a few people come on that are like in the wedding industry, whether they're photographers or like Mickey Castine DJing, and
Mike's the one that talked me into coming in here too.
Yeah, Mike's great, and but if you like Mike, I would say is like a very premier DJ in the area. Like I think he just holds the crowd well. He's got he just understands. He's got a good like he can read the crowd, but he's common sense. Like he just can feel it, and obviously Renee and like they're just great.
I love when they come there. It's fantastic because even like in the morning when the bride comes to get ready and stuff like that, Renee is awesome with the videography. But if the bride needs a drink, she'll just take it upon herself and help me because we're so close and just get things done.
Well, that's why I feel like they're almost like a extra set of eyes for you, where it's like you can slip away a little bit because you're like they'll be fine. Like I just know everything's
a great way to put it.
They'll step up if they need to, and they're just that kind of people. So
teamwork makes the dream work.
Exactly. Yeah. So now, what's the biggest challenge that you find like within running all this? Because again, logistically, a lot's going on. Is that like the hardest part, or is it like staffing, or is it just
sometimes
staffing?
Energy. It's just a well-oiled machine, and I got people that care, and I don't know, Galen, like it runs smoothly. It's an enjoyable job. I stress out every weekend, and the staff knows it because it's getting to game day, and you want everything to be perfect, and you want to prep as much as you can to make the day of as easy as possible. And I stress every weekend, and then they always tell me, it always works out. Like, stop stressing. I'm like, I'm going to stress, but I appreciate you. Thank you.
Have you gotten better with that, or is that still?
Nah, because at the end of the day, like you said earlier, I'm kind of the face of the business.
Yeah.
So if something goes wrong, they're going to think, Brandon fucked up or something like that. And I don't want that to happen because I take pride in the business, and I don't want to let my parents down who started a great business. And so at the end of the day, and if something does go wrong, whether it's my fault or one of the staff's fault, I'm going to take the blame. Yeah. It's because maybe I should have did something better or whatever the case might be. So at the end of the day, it's going to fall on my shoulders, and that's the way I want it to be. But I feel bad, and the staff and I kind of laugh because not only do I try to take any criticisms, which thankfully isn't too many of them, but they give me the credit. They're like, Brandon, you did such a good job with our wedding. Like, Brandon, you did this. And the staff is over there in the corner like, yeah, you did everything, huh? But we all know, and that's why I keep saying it multiple times, teamwork makes a dream work, great staff, and I mean it sincerely. There's no way I could do it by myself.
The production you put on, there's a lot of people behind this. And when you go, you notice all the people there. So it's not like they're invisible and you can't see them. It's like they're working their tail off, and they're slinging drinks or picking up stuff or just helping you with whatever. I said it's a good group of people.
Sincerely.
So a couple things I want to kind of go off a little bit. Can you talk about Jane's Fight Fund?
Love to.
Obviously, why it started, but what you've done for it. What's been the outcome of it? Kind of what's your goal for that going into the future?
Yeah. So Jane's Fight Fund. So my mom, her name was Jane. Her and my dad started the business, of course, with the Rainbow. And so she got diagnosed with cancer in November of 2016. She passed away July 8th, 2019. And so, yeah, her cancer diagnosis and having the Banquet hall, it was just kind of something obvious to us to start some sort of fund to give back to local cancer patients. I watched... We spent quite a bit of money, especially, I didn't, my parents did, spent quite a bit of money at the beginning. This was traveling, second opinions, going down to New York City for the Sloan Kettering, and just different things like that. And, again, we're not in a very high income area, and, we're probably a little more financially better off than some others with cancer battling. And so anyway, it was, and so knowing what it took and how good the community has been good to us to allow us to grow our business and all the love that they've shown my family through the years, it made sense to start some sort of fund. So we started Jane's Fight Fund. What we do is collect money throughout the year and then 3 times a year. And we also teamed up with CVPH Foundation too. So it is a true nonprofit as well too. And it's been great working with the foundation too. Carrie and Karen do a great job with us. So we collect money throughout the year, and then 3 times a year we'll go on Facebook Live on Jane's Fight Fund Facebook page. We'll do a random drawing. We'll use our fancy bingo set with the bingo balls, and each number kind of coordinates with a person's name. And then we'll draw 3 names 3 times a year. On Mom's birthday, June 30th, we'll actually do a 4th one, and we'll give each cancer patient a check for $2,000. So that equals out to $20,000 a year that we've given away. Wow. And the only stipulations to sign up, you just need to be a resident of Clinton, Franklin, or Essex County, and currently be undergoing cancer treatment of some sort. And since we started this, we teamed up with the foundation. I think it was in 2019 or so, but we started our first giveaway. I think it was in 2018. But since we started doing this, we've given away $111,000 to local cancer patients. But again, the community's been so great to us, and with the business, it was just it was so obvious to do something to kind of give back to the community like this.
And I know you guys obviously do the big golf tournament in September.
With North Country.
Is it September or August?
It's the last Sunday in August. Generally.
Okay,
yep.
And then the 5K run. Mm-hmm. What and anything else fundraising wise that you guys do?
Coming up on Memorial Day weekend, we do a big car show that's put on by Jerica Manning. She organizes that one. I see Facebook just started advertising that. I hate Facebook personally, so I got somebody who does that for us as well too. Okay. So that's another big fundraiser event for us too. We get a lot of cars that come to that, and honestly, like a lot of the locals, like they'll do like their own little mini fundraisers on their own and then donate the money. I know like Riley Ford's always been a big supporter. Like they'll do like a pay $5 to wear your jeans on a Friday, and they'll donate a couple times a year to us. Or if I ever need Chinese raffle items or whatever, they're always great too. But yeah, garage sales. I've had people say, "Hey, I did a garage sale last weekend. Here's $200." Or somebody at a wedding, here's $20. I miss your mom. She was great. Put this towards Jane's Fight Fund. That happens a lot too. Yeah. And it doesn't need to be multiples of $100. $5, whatever. It all adds up at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. We'll put that in the fund at CVPH Foundation, and then I tell them who to write the checks for after we do the giveaways, and that's the way it works.
And if people wanted to donate that, is there a way they can find, you said it's on Facebook, like under Jane's Fight Fund?
Yeah, so if you Google, either go to our website, rainbowbanquethall.com. Mm-hmm. You can scroll down to the bottom, and that brings you to CVPH Foundation website. Or if you Google CVPH Foundation and Jane's Fight Fund, that page will pop right up as well, too.
No, that's good. And like I said, I knew your mom as like a kid, like I said, when I was like she was always good. I used to work the ice cream stand, so she would always like come up, and she was always very, very nice, and talk to us, and always gave us, a couple bucks and stuff, and tipping, because like you said, someone like that, she knew the value of like a kid at 15, 16 years old, like
something I learned about
slinging a summer job.
Oh yeah, and they love their ice cream for sure.
Yeah,
you couldn't make my dad's ice cream big enough, as large as you can.
I like that. I respect that. Yeah,
but something I found out later in life after Mom passed. Some of my siblings already knew this, but I didn't know it. Altona used to do the Old Homes Day in town. And so they set up like a little mini bazaar at the church hall and stuff like that. And every year my mom would just pick somebody out at random and just give them $100, who had kids, I guess, and give them $100 and just say, make this, spend this on your kid today, whatever they want or whatever, but, don't tell them it's for me or whatever, just like a little angel gift of some sort. And just, make this the best day that you can for your kid. And she did that every year. And there's a lot of little things like that she did throughout the years. I knew some of them, but
I think she was, she worked behind the scenes in a good way. Like I said, kind of that anonymous kind of
Yeah. She never needed credit or anything like that.
So switching gears, you went skiing last week. Do you ski a lot?
I try to.
Where do you ski normally?
J Peak.
Oh, you do?
Yep.
How? So I tried to go. Well, I'm not much of a skier. I like skiing. I've been skiing more in the last few years than I ever have. But I've always heard J Peak is like the best place to go, or one of them.
Well, it's accurate. Yep.
So
they're not paying me right now.
No. How often do you get out there? A year?
So I don't go much in December because we're busy with the holiday parties. January, maybe a couple of times, but we got, a few things that we're doing around the business. But typically February, March is when I generally do most of my skiing, I guess.
So that's by far your favorite place?
Oh yeah, I grew up because in Champlain, growing up right there, J Peak was an hour and 15 minutes. Whiteface was an hour and 15 minutes from Champlain.
That's all it is from there?
Pretty close to it, yeah. So Plattsburgh takes me an hour and 45 minutes to get there.
Okay.
And if you stop to the local Jolly convenience store and buy a 6-pack of Pepsi, then they give you a voucher for a buy one get one pass at J Peak. So
really,
I'll either split it with somebody I'm going with, or I'll find somebody in the parking lot and be like, "Hey, I got to buy one get one. You want to go buy a ticket together at the window?" Heck yeah! And so,
really.
Yeah, so the last time, so it's $100 full price ticket. So the guy's like, "I'll give you 60, you pay 40." I said, "Great, sounds like a plan." Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'll go sell that Pepsi at the bar, but don't tell anybody.
That's good. So that's anytime you go up there.
Yeah, and the Glades are great. I love. Yeah,
that's what I heard. I heard the Glades they're one of the best ones in Vermont at least.
Yep.
Do you like going? You like skiing Glades?
Yeah. So I went to Whiteface once this year just because some other friends were going. So I was like, I'll go hop along with you. And it just reminded me, it was fun because I was skiing with other people. It was Ryan Lee and his wife Lauren.
Yeah.
And so that was fun.
That's actually who I try to ski. I haven't skied with Ryan this year, but we usually ski a lot together.
He does well. Yeah.
Yeah. He's gotten better
because he just started. He told me a couple years ago or so.
Yes. Yeah. He got pretty good last year.
Yep. And but yeah, Whiteface, it's all the trails. It's fast. It's fun to ski steep stuff sometimes.
Yeah.
But boy, my legs burn more skiing those groomers than skiing in the Glades because I don't know, you're holding that position for so long and you got no choice but to go fast. And
so I've only really skied Whiteface and Titus. And I think I went to Smuggler's Notch on a school trip when I was a kid, but didn't really know how to ski. So I don't even know how I did. What's the difference between Whiteface and J Peak? Because I've heard Whiteface, the snow's not as good because it gets very icy, but I've also heard that it's typically, if you can ski Whiteface with the steepness and everything, you can pretty much ski any place around here. Is that true?
That's fair. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So J Peak's not as steep.
So it's still steep in certain spots, but no, Whiteface is definitely steeper overall.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you can argue that. But I feel like J is just a little more dynamic with the different options that you can ski on, and they do little fun things in the trees, and you can either do more dense trees, you can do some more sparse trees, and the snow is always better, because it shields the sun, so the snow stays colder in the Glades. And so usually it's just softer, powderier, fluffier, however you want to say it.
Yeah.
As long as it stays below freezing and it doesn't have that sun effect, it's great in there.
How big is J? Is it a couple mountains?
So they got 4
peaks?
4 lifts. What is it? I'd say 3 peaks, I guess, is the way that works. Yeah, over on the main side, you get the tram and the flyer. The flyer sometimes closes, and the tram because of just the wind, the way it blows across. But usually on state side too. I was skiing, they had just one lift running by the end of the day, and between 3 and 4 o'clock, I was still getting fresh tracks in the
really
in the Glades.
Are the trails wider or when you go through again? I'm not the greatest when it comes to skiing. If you ask golf, I played enough golf courses to be okay, I understand the different nuances. But when you go skiing, are the trails wider? Because you see these things out, where you went in Idaho, you see more of the bowls, and you see kind of these bigger, more spacious. Looks like the trails are super wide, or the Glades are super wide.
Yeah, you won't find much for bowls out here on the east that I know, unless you're doing backcountry stuff.
Yeah, I think there's maybe one out in New Hampshire.
Yeah, I know there's Tuckerman's Ravine and some other things like that. Mount Marcy even too. Real quick, I'm going to pull up this quick video. I know obviously your viewers can't see it, so I'll be super fast because it's probably not interesting. But I did a pond skim while I was out in Idaho last week. And
let me see this.
I killed it. So this is me and my...
Do you want to explain what you're doing here?
Yep.
Wow, that's you?
That's me.
Jeez.
So I'm in my USA 1980 hockey jersey.
Love it.
And it's Aloha theme. And
so is this just a special thing they were doing that day?
Yeah, it was the end of the season at that particular mountain, so
Okay.
they do it every year. I was out there last year too for this, and I just didn't have the balls to do it, I guess, and I was a little skeptical, and I saw these kids in the morning. The ice was still like frozen over on the water in the morning. And they picked out like these big icicles and icebergs and stuff, and these kids that would fall, they're coming up all bloody. It was so funny, and poor kids. And yeah, so I was like, I don't think I'm gonna do it. And then this year I had a little liquid courage too.
So normal. So how does that work when you go flying through that? So like, you just kind of keep the skis up and like the tips up and just kind of glide over it, or is
Yeah, I was asking people too ahead of time too, and
like
watching
keep your
some
weight,
YouTube
do you keep
videos.
your weight back or something?
Yeah, try to have good ski form. Like keep your butt over your heels.
Yeah.
So your knees are bent. They're kind of loose, and yeah, just send it. I guess.
You were fast going over that. That had to be what,
yeah.
maybe 50 feet.
So
Something like that?
it was funny too. Again, it was Aloha themed. So I like to go all out. I like ridiculous things. I'm a very ridiculous fella. So I had these, instead of ski poles, I bought some tiki torches, and I lit those on fire at the top before I started skiing down.
In that picture?
Yeah, but the guy at the top of the mountain, he's you're not supposed to have poles when you go over because they don't want the poles to like puncture the liner of the pool. And he said he saw the bottom of the tiki torches. You know, there's a slight angled or whatnot, so they do essentially come to a somewhat of a point. And he said you can't ski with those because it could puncture a hole in the liner. I said, sir, I don't plan on falling. He goes, it doesn't matter, safety reasons, you can't do it. And not to mention you have the fuel and the flame or whatever, the tiki torch. I said, no, I emptied it out. It's just a wick that's wet. That was a lie. And he's like, you can't do it. I'm like, sir, I need to ski with these poles. I wanted to win. You know, if I'm going to do anything, I like to win.
Yeah,
I don't care what it is. Full send. And I'm like, what if I just drop them? Before I get to the water, I'll drop them. He goes, you better drop them. I said, I will, sir, I'm a man of my word. I will drop them. And you better drop them, he says. And so I did. So before I got to the water, I dropped the poles. That's why you didn't see it in the video. But
Were they lit when you were going down?
I did.
I mean, I don't know how long they would have stayed lit if it's.
Yeah, they probably went out. I just straight lined it. They told me.
Wait, so they were lit when you started?
Oh yeah,
That's so funny.
yeah, it was good. And I attached like an oversized inflatable cell phone to the pole too. So as I was skiing with the poles, it looked like I was on like this huge Zach Morris cell phone as well too.
Just crank
Yeah,
up the
and I
antenna.
had my sister and I know some people. I've gone out there like 12 years or so, so I know not a lot, but I know quite a few of the folks out there.
Yeah.
And so they were helping me get the crowd fired up. Like everybody's cheering as I'm skiing. Samson, Samson, and so it was awesome. I'm like, I think I might win first place on this. Like I had a chance.
Did you win?
I did not. You know who?
How did they vote on that? Which one's more entertaining?
Yeah, you know, it's not super.
So it's
serious.
just like the clap rule. Like
Essentially,
yeah.
There is a set of judges that sit there by the pool. If you can spray the judges, you know, it's bonus points. You do a trick when you come off of it, that's bonus points. You know, I didn't want to fall. You know, it was my first year. I just wanted to get across the damn water. And but I bet, you know, part of costume, you know, how much you get into it with the costume. So I was doing pretty well with that. And but you know who beat me? Well, there's no first, second, or third. In my mind, I came in second. But you know who beat me was this guy who was carrying a server tray with like a couple glasses of wine and stuff on it. But you know, of course, you put saran wrap over the glass. Phony. You know,
I was like, that's impressive. I
but,
said,
yeah. But,
right, did deserve to win.
yeah, but you know, he's going so fast. You know, obviously, it was all taped down or whatever the case may be. There's no way to hang on to that going that fast.
I was gonna say, how fast were you going? You think
I don't know. I must have been going
30 miles an hour?
Maybe a little faster, around 40 or so.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
because it's not super steep, or the lead up, it's steep, but not.
I mean, you got to
super
carry
steep.
speed to go over that.
Oh, yeah,
like
for
you
sure.
flew over that. It almost looked like
Yeah. If anything, I was
like
not
you had to
gonna go
slow
too
down
slow.
once you passed it.
Yeah, for sure. I was
fun.
doing full send. And you know what changed my life for skiing? There's a movie called NAR. Gaffney. This is totally irrelevant to anything, and your viewers probably have turned this off at this point. But Gaffney's Numeric Assessment of Radness, NAR. It used to be on.
It's a movie.
Yeah, it's an hour and 9 minutes long. It's on YouTube, and GNAR, Gnar, and it's basically about these friends. Shane McConkey in particular, he was big in the '90s and so on, but he ended up passing away from. We did like not hang gliding, but you know when they got those like those flying suits on.
Oh, the squirrel suits.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're from Squaw Valley out in California, and they wrote this guidebook of skiing, Squaw Valley.
Is this the guys that make a ski movie every year?
Yeah, they're all big into ski movies. Yep.
I think I've heard of these guys.
Yep. And so you get different points for BN. Like if you ski butt naked, it's worth bonus points. If you ski a sick line while calling your mom on the cell phone, if you stop midline and take a pee, or it's just kind of being a pompous jerk with your buddies and be like
this stuff right here.
Yep.
I mean, I won't have the sound on, but just like going through when you see some of these guys going off like that.
I don't do any of that. Yeah.
I mean, that's just wild. But I mean, you take the slides at Whiteface when you're like going over waterfalls and trees and rocks.
Those. Yeah.
They just opened a couple times recently.
I know. When I went there, I brought my backcountry stuff too to see if I could get on, but they didn't have it open.
Do you backcountry a lot?
Not on the East Coast. I don't really know anybody. On the West Coast, my sister, her husband, they're all backcountry guides at one point in their life. They were all Sun Valley trekking interns. And so, growing up with those guys once a year anyway, it was a lot of fun because, you got the intern house. There's a party every night, and you just go skiing and that's it, I guess. But now, everybody's older. They got kids and everything
So is that
else.
your favorite thing to do regarding skiing is backcountry skiing?
Nah, I like the resorts. I do enjoy backcountry skiing.
Yeah.
And when you get those fresh lines, you're by yourself. It's quiet in the back of the mountain, but I like making turns, and so at the resort you can obviously make more turns, and but in the backcountry you make better quality turns for sure.
Like this, like good Lord, man.
Send it, bud.
These guys are just, dropping off cliffs. Like,
yeah, I'll do like mini cliffs, nothing like that.
I mean, this is look at these guys.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, they just kind of be like, pushing each other, like, Galen Trombley, I can't believe you're a pro. I'm way better than you. Just like stupid stuff like that.
Yeah, egging each other on.
Yeah, and Tanner, you remember Tanner Chauvin? He played against you in soccer. E-Town?
No, Tanner?
Tanner Chauvin, yeah.
Was there a Tanner Chauvin? There's a Shay Z Tanner Chauvin.
No, I'm going with the E-Town one.
Okay, I don't know him.
E-Town one's probably cooler.
Oh, could be. I don't know the other one. Those are fighting words, but yeah.
But like Joel, I can't think of Joel's last name.
At E-Town?
Yeah.
Morris?
Joel Cross.
Oh, no.
Cross. So I think they're just a little bit older than you.
Okay, could be.
And John Merrihew and
I know
company.
Johnny. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, we did a bunch of skiing together and just playing this game with Nar and just, so it's just, I like to push when I'm skiing. It makes it more fun.
So you're a pretty confident skier then?
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, I look at this stuff and I'm like, I get a little bit of air. Not like if anytime I get air skiing, it's purely because I hit a little like hop that I didn't see there.
Yeah.
So I don't actively go out and look for jumps.
Yeah. Nor do I. I don't do anything in the park or anything like that.
Okay.
I like the technical aspect of it.
Okay.
Skiing in the trees and stuff like that. I watched an inspirational video the other day. It's like a tree skiers. They're not looking at it's like an optimistic way of looking at life. They're not looking at what they could potentially hit. They're looking at the path to get through the obstacles.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn, yeah, that's actually a great way to put it.
Yeah, the Glades, I was talking to a guy, I was asking him, like, how fast do you go down the Glades? Like, he said, it's not necessary. He goes, the hardest part is if they're super narrow and you don't have a real good place to kind of, like, break speed. Mm-hmm. He goes, that's when it gets kind of nerve-wracking because you, like, sometimes you just go and almost bail into it, like, not into the tree, but...
True, yeah.
So, like, I do like skiing Glades, but I'm, like, I'm like a novice Glade kind of person, but they're fun to do because it's just like adds a little. You kind of get those little spurts.
It's technical, yeah.
Yeah, it's technical, and you're almost like working for it versus just blasting down. So there's a level of like, oh, that's cool. I made it through. Like, even though it's not that long of a distance, but you made it through, and it just felt.
Yep.
There's like a little bit of pride thing. Yeah.
Yep. You get that rhythm, and like moguls. I like doing moguls, and you just make that rhythm.
Yeah, I think moguls you have to be very well. You can go fast. I'm the same. I'm like slow. I'm like stop, get down to the next one. Like I kind of feel like I'm like plinkoing my way down through them.
And that's fine. I feel like when you're doing that kind of stuff, you're skiing a little bit slower. Like you're spending more time on the mountain and having fun rather than just racing down to the chairlift just to ride the chairlift again.
True. Yes. Yeah. I was gonna say skiing for me is like getting outside with some friends and just like having a good time. Like I'm not trying to break any like land speed records and fly down here, but
no, agreed.
So hopping back in, we'll kind of end with this just for time. What is your vision for the Rainbow going forward? Banquet Hall, everything you have going on, or like the Owl Barn Creamery, like how's it all tie together? Is there anything that you hope to, like you mentioned a hotel at one point? Is there anything that you have as like a pipe dream that you would like to do, or
just keep it going efficiently at this magic moment. Improving the efficiencies and keep trying to get better, offering more services to couples, I got, like I said, there's something else I'm trying to work on, but
that's right.
I don't want to get too much into it, I guess. Just keep providing a quality service. I don't have any intentions on building any more rooms here anytime soon, or anything like that.
I was gonna say, yeah, you guys are doing very well. But if people want to reach out or book with you guys or look for openings, how do they do so?
Actually, before we end this, can I back up real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
I'd like to give a big shout out to my wife as well too. Allison, she's super supportive. Like I work quite a few hours, especially in the summertime. And she's just super supportive. She doesn't care when I come home or when I'm home, as long as, just try to keep her in the loop, to try to be a good husband and communicate and stuff. And with the kids, I try to get to many kids events as possible, which is challenging. But I am just super appreciative of my family as well. Even like going skiing by myself. I went to Idaho last week for 10 days, and she knows skiing is a passion of mine, and super supportive. Working is a passion of mine, super supportive. And even playing indoor soccer still, super supportive.
And is you said she's involved with the banquet hall and everything, right? You said like whether it's decorating or just like insight or kind of consultations, but like giving you ideas.
Yeah, so she's a teacher, but she definitely, as far as giving me ideas of especially with trends and stuff like that, she does a much better job in helping me. And like even like when we built the barn, there was a book probably 1.5 inches thick of different chandeliers. She turned through every single page and looked at every chandelier just to try to make sure we chose what was best for the business. And so yes, she's willing to like help me with the research, because I'm not good at decorating like that kind of stuff. That's, again, Pinterest is great because somebody shows me what they want. I can assemble it. Like I can get the pieces together. I can get the right people together. Allison, she laughs at me because I got a guy for everything. And like we need a septic tank covers for a project before. I'm like, yeah, I got a guy for that. Just little things. Johnny Bell texted us yesterday. He's like, hey, I need to break into a safe. You guys got a safe guy? I'm like, yeah, I got a guy. And but anyway, so Allison she contributes in that sense, and helping me with different research things and trends and what brides like and what women like. And let's not kid ourselves, when the bride and groom, or bride and bride, groom and groom, whoever, getting married, generally it's just one of them usually making the bulk of the decisions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you go like by like or spouse or whatever, in our case our wives, I think the same thing. Like I don't know, like I come and work and I feel like that's not work, like it's fun and it's not challenging. And then like some stuff my wife does, I'm like, good Lord, like you're like with the kids and everything else, I always feel like I'm like the sidekick to her and that she's like leading the charge, and I'm like trying not to screw it up.
Oh, for sure. Yes. I try to keep the happy wife for a happy life, because she does so much at home and just for our family as a whole. Yes, super thankful, because I enjoy the family aspect of life, and I wish I could contribute more to the little things.
Yeah.
And yes, she's phenomenal.
It's a divide and conquer, and I think and if you sound like, I think we both would be lost without our wife's
100%. 100%.
Like I think I could do it, and then I really thought, I'm like, I think right now if something happened, there's a lot of stuff I wouldn't know that my wife just like does without even me thinking. Like I don't have to think about it, but she just does it, and like
and just having that love and that trust, and you got nothing to worry about.
Support system, absolutely.
Yeah. I'm thankful to have that.
Well, great.
To get a hold of us, what's your question? Come visit us in beautiful downtown Altona. Don't blink on your way out; you'll miss uptown. Give us a call. You can Google us, Rainbow Banquet Hall. We got the website, Jane's Fight Fund. Please support. That money stays local right here to the community. However, folks, cancer patients want to spend that money, we leave it up to them. And the foundation, they were trying to push me I don't want to say push me, encourage me to do something like a Make-A-Wish or something like that. But I really didn't want to get into that. I wanted to write people a check. They spend it however they want.
Yeah.
Because, your needs might be different than my needs. One person might be spending it on traveling or medical expenses. One person might spend the money on a lawnmower or whatever,
Yeah.
So I didn't want to tell people how to spend their money. And, but yes, at Jane's Fight Fund, I love having that. Like it's just, it makes us feel good, to kind of give back to the community as well too. But
continue a legacy.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely.
All right.
Anything
Brandon,
else?
this was good. No, this is. I was glad you came on and did this, and I think a lot of people recommended you too, which is good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like I said, this was good. I mean, I wanted you on anyways, but I'm saying like there's people that I know that really respect you and have a lot of want to hear what you have to say, and I think I've always had fun up at the the venues up there, and I think I'm probably in the very big majority of people locally that would say the same thing. So you guys put on a good party.
I appreciate it. I tell you, I was nervous to come on because, like I say, I say some dumb stuff sometimes. Just because I try to be funny, It's just I like to get a reaction out of people and make them laugh.
Well, your zingers I think hit perfect, so they'll be good.
Rock on. I kept them at a minimum here today too.
I was gonna say, I think if not, he might do stand up later. That might be part of his gig.
Yep. So, Galen, thank you. Thank you to my staff at the Rainbow. Thank you to my wife and my family. Thank you to my parents. Yes, it's Brennan's out, I guess. I don't know.
That's good. All right, that's it. Episode 226, Galen Trombley Show. Brennan's out. Thank you for listening to the Galen Trombley Show. Be sure to subscribe, review, and share the episode. You can follow me on all social platforms at Galen Trombley. Thanks for listening.